We're here today with Kristie from Nectar Mortgages Australia. Nectar has over 150 brokers and have been going for 10 years now, coming up on their 10-year anniversary next year. Kristie's the regional manager for Southeast Queensland. Might pass over to you, Kristie, just to give us a bit of background on Nectar and what you do.
Yeah, so Nectar started, as you said, coming up 10 years ago. Our founders are predominantly ex-real estate agents, so we understand your industry really well. We've walked in your shoes, and now we walk alongside of you to achieve outcomes for clients. So there's 150 of us in Australia, so really big footprint. So wherever you are, there's a broker representing our brand that can help. I think the biggest thing about why we left the real estate environment, moved into the finance environment was so that we could really be focused on achieving outcomes for clients and walk beside you guys to achieve the outcome that you're after.
Yep. Yeah, you're both trying to achieve the same thing, and that's really what we want to talk about today, is how that alignment in what you're working towards can be leveraged to really improve the process. And from a real estate agent's perspective, if you have that relationship with a broker that's, again, trying to achieve the same thing, and if you guys are talking together and the real estate agent and the broker are communicating and you're relaying information back and forth, how that can be of benefit to that real estate agent and how it can benefit their customers' experience in both the buyer and also the seller. And that's something
Absolutely.
I think that gets overlooked sometimes, is the broker only benefits the buyer because the buyer's trying to get the finance. But if you have that communication and the real estate agent's talking back to the seller, it's a better experience because they're getting information, they're knowing what's going on, how the finance application's going, but also the likelihood of finance going through, if you've got a good broker in place, means that the seller's more likely to have that contract go through to settlement and then get paid and their house gets sold. So
Definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So can we touch on, just overall, just some of the benefits of having that broker real estate agent relationship through the transaction process? One of the things I might ask you firstly is, how quickly can you assess if the settlement or if the finance for that particular buyer is likely to go through? I know that there's quite a bit of legislation around what you can and can't say to a third party like the real estate agent. Yeah. How quickly can that assessment be made, and what are you allowed to tell the real estate agent, and are they allowed to then tell the seller?
Yeah, the lending landscape has changed dramatically over the last few years.
Yep.
We've had huge gains in software, so we've got access to some key pieces of software that are able to tell us if there's a deal there quite quickly. Sometimes with less complex scenarios, it will be within minutes. Essentially what we need is a privacy statement, some information on income and expenditure. We plug it into the software, and I guess as much as we can tell the real estate agent, it's whether there's a deal or not there that we feel. By no means would that be a pre-approval, but it would be that there's enough there to move forward to a full approval.
Yeah, well, yeah, massively important information for the seller as well, like for them to be able to then talk to the seller and tell them what's going on and relay that information. And that's fine for the real estate agent to do once you've given them the sort of the thumbs up, thumbs down.
So the real estate is able to say that they're backing this seller, this purchaser.
Yep.
We are bound by legislation and privacy, but there's enough in there that we can say that this is a strong enough deal that we believe that there'll be an approval there. Obviously, there's a lot more to the end-to-end process, but there's definitely enough there that the real estate agent can be confident enough to go to contract.
Yeah, cool. What are some of the other benefits that you see through not just through the transaction process, but from having that broker real estate agent relationship?
Yeah, so apart from the efficiency gain of, where there's multiple purchases involved or on the table, we can have a look at files and give the client an indication as to whether or not they'd be approved. Efficiency gain straight there for a real estate agent, peace of mind for a seller.
Yeah.
the other piece, I guess, that we should touch on is the fact that if a client has agreed to the mortgage broker sharing some information with the real estate agent where relevant and where legal, obviously, it just provides a fully transparent environment throughout the whole process. So, we as part of the Nectar process, we let the customer know that the application's gone in. We follow up with a call to the solicitor and the real estate agent to let them know that that process has gone in. We give an ETA on the lender's SLAs so that everybody knows the timeframe that we're working towards.
Yeah, for sure. What about real estate agents that are got large rent rolls or maybe more focused on rentals as opposed to listing and selling? So they've got a large database, they've got landlords that are maybe feeling the pinch a little bit at the moment with all these rate rises we've been having. How can a broker get involved with that kind of team?
So that rent roll is a really sweet spot for a broker to play in, and a lot of brokers just don't play in that space because they don't see the value.
Right.
So when we form a relationship with a real estate agent, it really is a true partnership. So we look at all aspects of their business and how we can add value. The rent roll is an area, definitely in that investment space, where we've seen dramatic increases in rates over the last few years, and investors are starting to feel the pinch. So it is that space where we can help train property managers to have a conversation where they may be delivering a difficult conversation. There might be, some maintenance needed on the property and they're asking for bills to be paid, where they can turn that around and offer value to their client, have a chat with a mortgage broker, and let's see if we can save you some money on your repayments to kind of sweeten that conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Like we have quite a few of our clients, we hear from them that have got large rent rolls, and they've spoken over the last 12 to 18 months in particular with all these rate increases about how a percentage of their landlords are, only one more rate rise away or one unpaid month of rent away from being in a serious problem where they're not able to make those repayments. And I think giving them the option to have a chat to a broker that you as a real estate agent have that rapport with, have that relationship with, and putting them onto that broker to have a conversation around their current rates, their current mortgage, and where they're at, and see if there's a bit of room to maybe get an improved rate to get them back below wherever they've got to be, to have a little bit of wiggle room, to have a little bit of money left over each month so that they can cover those payments is definitely going to be an amazing service to offer to your property management database, to your landlord database. So absolutely. Yeah,
and I think there's multiple ways that a broker can look at adding value to a rent roll. It might be pricing where a customer is already, or it might be that we refinance and do an equity release to help with cash flow in the short term. I know definitely within that SMSF space, so self-managed super fund space, all of those old loans are in 11 and 12% at the moment. We've got lenders that are offering high sixes, early sevens, so that's a dramatic saving.
Massive. And I think I would imagine that there's a portion of that, like that database, that are under that SMSF in that SMSF database that maybe don't even know about those kind of improvements that you can get. So a little bit of communication with your rent roll, with your landlords, and offering that conversation and that service is going to open up a whole different door. For them.
And I think the value that a seasoned broker that works within your business and helps with those staffing conversations and maybe some of the pitch with landlords when they're dealing with those difficult conversations. We help with all of that. We have EDMs, we have sales pitch sheets. We've got lots of information that can help support your business and your staff to drive those conversations. Yeah,
cool. So if there's any real estate agents listening and they don't currently have that broker relationship, or maybe they do and they think they're not getting enough out of it, what should they do to go about finding a better broker, finding the right broker to help within their business to become sort of a part of their team? Now, they could call you.
Yeah,
your
or my team.
South East
Yeah,
Queensland,
absolutely.
or you or your team, and have a conversation and see where that goes.
Yeah.
I understand you service loans all over Australia, so you're not just in that South East Queensland
right around
region.
the world, actually.
Right
yeah,
around the world. Yep, cool. So how would you suggest they go about maybe strengthening that broker relationship if they've already got one and they're not getting anything out of it, or finding the right broker, and what do they need to look for to make sure they're getting the most out of it and get closer to what we're talking about today?
Yeah, I think brokers do a really good space on that initial pitch with real estate agents. They come in, they open the door, let's work together. And then you kind of don't hear from them for a little while. So Nectar has a program with referral sources, so accountants and real estates, where we offer to come in and help train staff and have conversations with your sales staff and your rent roll staff.
Yep.
So it's really about a broker that's going to plug into your business and provide more value. What you're looking for in real estate is repeat business. That's your bread and butter.
Yep.
So having that sticky relationship with landlords and people that are looking to sell is really important. So it's the same thing in that broker relationship is, you ideally want your broker on your doorstep, at least monthly, talk about market updates, what that means for buyers and sellers, help educate your sales team. If you're not getting that contact and that level of support from a broker, I'd be picking up the phone and having a conversation and shopping around a little bit. It's all about relationships between brokers and real estate agents. I guess if you're going to be referring your clients to a broker, it's got to be somebody that you want to work with. So just make sure that the personality fit is right.
Yeah.
Make sure that the broker is going to return calls and do what they say that they're going to do. Every broker in Australia is really busy at the moment. It's unprecedented, but they need to have the processes in place where they're able to service your business.
Yeah. I think the right fit for your business, and you got to like working with them. You got to get along with them. So the rapport that you have with that broker is going to be massive, because they got to feel like an extension of your team as well. That's
Absolutely.
the thing. They're not just someone you pass a buyer over to every now and then. They really need to be fitting within your team, like you said, educating your team on what's happening in the market, particularly the sales team. What does the lending space look like right now? We've just had another rate rise. What's happening over the next few months? How is that flowing through to the actual lenders, and what are they offering to buyers in the way of their finance packages and things like that? So,
that's right. And every lender takes that rate rise landscape differently. It depends on where the risk is spread in their business. They essentially have buckets of funding between LVRs, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So it's really about what the customer is needing and where we fit that within the lender space.
Yeah, and there's so many different lenders that suit different circumstances, isn't there?
Correct, absolutely.
We talked a little bit about how Nectar caters for like self-employed purchases really well and that kind of stuff. So
we do a lot of self-employed. So especially in Queensland, so the Sunshine Coast has more self-employed per capita than anywhere else in the country. Wow. So we write a lot of self-employed, whereas in other areas they might not do a lot of self-employed. So it's really understanding what that profile looks like and how lenders are going to treat it. Yeah.
And again, having the broker that knows all of that and can relay that back to your sales team and offer that education and training within your real estate team is massively beneficial. It's going to make you that much more knowledgeable, and you're going to be able to offer a better service to your buyers and sellers.
Definitely.
Having that sort of baseline understanding of how the process works and what's happening in the market. So.
Yeah, I think looking for a broker that's been around for a few years and has seen the rise and fall of rates and how that changes the lending landscape. We've just come off COVID, where we've had unprecedented low rates for a long time. Loans were being approved all over the place because affordability wasn't an issue. Yeah. We've had significant rate rises since then. We now have mortgage prisoners that can't be refinanced. We can't get them a better rate because that lending landscape has tightened so much. So choosing a broker that has ridden the waves will help you serve your customers better.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you for listening. we're going to put some details down below in this blog post or social media post with details on how you can get in contact with Kristie if you do want to have a conversation with herself or any of her team, if you're in a position where you want to strengthen your broker relationship or get a broker in your real estate business and get that process working. Details will be down below, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.